we mentioned, we were talking about the Celtics a minute ago, and like second apron teams and teams that are approaching that, teams that have cap space. By the way, I think the Sacramento Kings are the. I don't think I know the Sacramento Kings are the best team in the entire league with cap space.
Absolutely.
Like the amount of cap space that they have. Like the closest are in terms of playoff teams are the Thunder. And then you can debate, and I'd listen to it. You could debate what the Indiana Pacers are. I think the Indiana Pacers are on the verge of being a good team, and I think they will be next year. But in terms of intriguing options for free agents this year, it's really Sacramento is at the top, unless you're amped up about Ime Udoka in Houston or the Thunder,
right?
Or you want to play with Victor Wembanyama, but I can't. I'm having a tough time visualizing these being deciding factors in someone choosing a free agent destination,
right?
Because the Spurs are a little ways away, the Rockets are a little ways away, Pacers are closer, Thunder are closer, and no shade. Well, it is shade. Like it's the Thunder. That's a dope team, in my opinion. It's still Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And I think that's a tough sell.
Right.
So Sacramento, I feel like really has, and I think that's why so many insiders, so many league insiders are really hinting at Sacramento doing something special this offseason, because they recognize, this is a really good team that could add a piece that takes them to the next level.
Yeah.
And unlike years past where it's like, Sacramento has money. Well, kid, take the money. Take the money and, you'll get traded in a year. This is like, you can sign someone who's really good and you could have the opportunity to compete for the conference next year and essentially an NBA championship.
Yeah, man, things have changed. Things have absolutely changed with the Sacramento Kings. And you look at the cap space that they have compared to the other teams that have that cap space. And if you're a guy that winning is important and that's what you're trying to do, I mean, you got to think they're number one on the list, right?
Got to be.
Orlando's close because maybe you feel like Orlando's close. Maybe you think they're a year behind.
I think Orlando got a little bit of money too.
They got they got 30+ mil.
Oof.
They're one of those teams.
I guess that's more than a little bit.
But you may look at them as a team that is maybe a year
could get to
behind
40.
Sacramento.
They could get to 40. Man.
Yeah, maybe
that's an interesting team. Yeah, Orlando's interesting. Indiana's 30+.
The crazy thing about Orlando, though, is much like a little like Sacramento, their spots are kind of taken. So I guess maybe you're looking at center. Maybe a center can come in there. You're also maybe looking at point guard, shooting guard, but you just drafted Jalen Suggs and Cole Anthony. So you're going to go spend $30 million on a point guard? Maybe you might if you're Orlando. But when you talk about like Kuzma or OG or any of those guys like that, I don't think Orlando's doing anything with Banchero or Franz Wagner. So those positions are locked up.
You know what's great about this? I'm scrolling the chat. Any second, someone's going to say, hey, we take a flyer on Jonathan Isaac.
Oh, jeez.
Who hasn't played basketball in like 7 years.
I'm not even joking. Someone threw that in there earlier in the chat like an hour ago.
I don't know that any other fan base has an infatuation with a player who doesn't play basketball like the Sacramento Kings do. Jonathan Isaac, which is wild because this is the home of Marvin Bagley.
Oof.
But we can't have a conversation about a big man spot or about Orlando, the team that he's on, without Jonathan Isaac's name being mentioned.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
They need to kind of let that one go.
Our man Bruce is on the line.
All right.
916-909-1320.
Much cleaner show today.
Bruce, what's up, buddy?
What's up? How are you guys doing?
Good, Bruce. How are you doing today, man? You out of school?
I'm good.
Is it summer vacation?
Thanks for asking. Huh?
Is it summer vacation yet? You out of school?
Yeah, I'm out of school.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think about picking up Nikola Vucevic and moving the bonus to the 4?
This dude, Bruce be having some ideas, bro. I tell you.
Bruce is on
Bruce
it.
be on it, man. I haven't heard a bad call from Bruce yet.
We're gonna have Bruce as our new free agent analyst.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Bruce. Vucevic
That's
is
kind
interesting.
of interesting. That is interesting.
Because where's his home? Like Chicago, like what's Chicago doing?
Chicago kind of got dealt the raw deal. The Lonzo thing really just
Absolutely
turned everything on its head.
Yeah, I'm not criticizing,
But I don't know what
but
they're doing.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. They should be trying to just like tank. It's not gonna happen. Move DeRozan, maybe even move Levine, and leave big big Vucevic.
That was aggressive, bro.
Vucevic.
Got it. Nailed it.
But
Bruce ain't have no problem saying Vucevic, but Kendrick Perkins.
Big Vucevic.
Get you every time.
I understand. I've been there.
Yeah, it's happened.
Domas Sabonis was tough.
Well, man, you did that on live television, which was a wild move on your part. That was an all-timer. This man ain't never said Domas Sabonis. It's Domantas every time, and then decided to experiment on live television.
I ain't want to call the man Kenneth no more. But he's going to be called Kenneth now. I ain't even messing with Domas.
I guess so.
But his fit with Big Vucevic is intriguing because he could be a stretch 5. He could be a stretch 5. I think you may have some issues matching up defensively. Like a lot of the times I think about this, not too many teams go with 2 big lineups or 2 big lineups that aren't athletic and can guard on the perimeter. So when you talk about Vucevic and Sabonis, it's kind of slow. It just my first thought is that's very slow. And say you're playing the Warriors and they got one big out there is Draymond, and then they got Gary Payton and Wiggins and Clay and Steph. Like, where's Sabonis going on defense?
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that worries me. Offensively, though, Vucevic is the type of big that you want next to Sabonis, a guy that can shoot the ball from distance and spread the floor, keep the floor spread.
Rebound the ball
as well. Absolutely. I don't think I would do it just because of the defensive situation, but Bruce is on to something right there. That's the type of guy that you would look at and say, yeah. I got a question.
Okay, is it about Vucevic?
It's about Bruce.
Okay.
Think he writes his own rhymes?
I do.
I do too. I'm just checking.
Yeah,
just checking. I think he writes his own rhymes.
Yeah. Our man Bruce is sharp.
I think so too.
Our man Bruce is
He'd
sharp.
be on it. He reminds me of a little Damian Barley, little Kenny Caraway.
Oh, I didn't do that. I don't know how old Bruce is, but when my voice sounded like that, I wasn't talking about who I was.
I don't believe you was Dion could go here, Dion could go there. This would be a good fit. I think you would have been on it.
No, I don't know how. Believe it, that wasn't me. I was far more into music when I was younger. It's not that I wasn't locked in on sports, but I wasn't analyzing what free agents would help Sacramento or San Francisco or whatever, Chicago, the Bulls. We're gonna all pretend like we weren't Bulls fans growing up. Give me a break.
Pete Myers, shout out to him.
I wasn't doing that. I was listening to tapes.
I was. Bruce, a little Kenny Caraway out there.
I think he
probably even better than a little Kenny Caraway. He got it down.
I don't think I really got into like sports on that level or past the surface level till I was like 13 or 14. Prior to then, it was music and wrestling. I could break down WrestleMania like nobody's business. What was I going to add? Oh, Vucevic. Cost.
I can't remember. Is he a free agent or is he in his
He
final
is.
year?
No, he's a free agent.
I think
Last deal
I think he might be like a $12 million a year guy.
last year, or excuse me. Last year was 24 million. His contract was 400.
Yeah, I think those days are done. He got a good deal there. Those days are finished. I can see him being like a $12 million a year guy, almost like a Nas Reed, 12, 13 million.
Yeah,
how about for somebody?
How about all of the money that Minnesota has invested in?
Wow,
in that part of their front court.
wow.
I mean, they got. I think the total is $88 million.
I think for
those
season.
three, like a season. Yeah.
I saw, where was it at? The Timberwolves are paying their center trio of Rudy, Cat, and Nas around $443 million combined.
Lord is my shepherd. He know what I want. Man.
Yeah, that's a trip.
What?
That's a trip.
What is that team doing?
I have no idea.
I like Nasri. Hey, good for him.
Yeah.
Good
I think
for him.
I would say in that situation, they're probably thinking sign Nas and we can deal either him or Cat later.
Wow. Okay.
I think
Gave him the old,
probably their thought process.
gave him the old sign him and figure it out later treatment.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the phones. 916-909-1320. George, appreciate the call, man. What's going on, George?
Hey, I do appreciate your guys' time. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Hey,
Thank
I've
you.
heard the word Vucevic, but let me tell you, for the last 2 weeks, my brain is saying Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez is a much, much, much better defensive player than Vucevic will ever be. Now, Brook Lopez was the third in line to be the defensive player of the year. He can block shots. He defends excellent in the paint, and he can shoot the three. It is something that Sabonis is not. Sabonis is not a good free throw. He's not a very good
three-point shooter.
He is not exactly a defensive player, but if you follow his history, he's not even a center. He's a power forward. So can you imagine have Brook Lopez right there, which defending the paint, which is something that we don't do, we don't know how to do, we don't have the people to do it. So be a perfect defensive player in the center, while we have Sabonis distribute the ball and does what he does. And I'm not comparing Antetokounmpo to Sabonis. Don't get me wrong here. But in the meantime, he can actually operate the same. While when it comes to the offense, you have Brook Lopez right there at the corner shooting threes, while still Sabonis does what he does. But then in the defense end, which is something that we're extremely lacking, he can actually defend the paint much better than anybody else.
It's never not funny. I felt bad. I do feel bad that I let him go that long. And George,
Set him up.
I don't, George, I don't mean this to be dismissive. Will Z, if you're listening, I don't mean this to be dismissive. Brook Lopez is not coming
here. Yeah, I don't see that coming.
Just trust us on this one. Brook Lopez he's not coming here.
No.
And the cold part is, and this doesn't have anything to do with Sacramento, but Brook Lopez is the guy who's talked about. He's older, and everything George said was right. Brook Lopez isn't coming here. I also don't think Brook Lopez is signing with Milwaukee either. And I think that creates a different conversation, and maybe we don't have to have it today. Obviously, we're talking about the Sacramento Kings. We mentioned the Boston Celtics earlier. What sort of shape is Milwaukee in? Because obviously, I'm of the belief that Chris Middleton is going back there.
People have talked about Chris Middleton coming to the Kings. I don't think so. I think he's going to go back to Milwaukee as well, and maybe figure out something contractually where
3-90,
something like that. But some people have said Kings, he's a free agent. Why did he opt out? You know, why
Because
did
he wants
Kings...
the 90 and not the 40.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. I'm just broadcast journalist.
My man.
Yeah.
My man.
I wouldn't want Chris Middleton either, by the way. Good ball player. I just don't trust the body to hold up.
I hate that I can never remember. 33?
I think it's 33.
Is that how old Chris Middleton is?
Yeah.
31. He's 31. Damn.
Oh, man.
Looks 33.
Moves like he's 33.
Well, some would argue he moves like he's 43. But, and believe me, I'm 43, and sometimes that movement can hurt.
Yeah, I'm over here.
We're born a day apart. 11 years in a day, but a day apart.
I'm over here rubbing my Achilles right now.
Oh, I know that scares you.
Yeah, I don't barely want to do anything.
Okay, so I see Aldrin J. Why so adamant?
Just because I think his body is betraying him. I think that knee is. I don't think it's going to be good enough to get what you're hoping to get out of that contract.
This has become my new not so favorite game. He played 33 last year. No surprise. Everybody knows that. 66 the year prior. He played 68 in a 72, 62 in a 72. Well, it's not that bad. I mean, he's had some seasons where he's been hurt and missed time. But I'd argue he's like a lot like Clay. The story for him might not even be this year. It might be next year.
Yeah, the knee thing is just started to flare up, you know, and he didn't look good last year. You know, he was kind of trying to work his way back all season. So I'm willing to stall him out a little bit. But didn't he just have another procedure?
He did this offseason. Lowest points per game since the 2016-17 season when he was 29. Played 82 games a year after that. That's when he started regularly hitting the 20. He's been the picture of consistency for 3 straight years leading into last season. I understand your fears. Oh, man. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He has 40+% 3-point percentage seasons. 31 last year.
You can shoot the pill. He can shoot the pill, and that is not indicative of who he
31. I understand why Aldrin, why you guys feel the way that you do about Chris Middleton. I'm not quite as dismissive as you are.
The other thing about it is the price tag, though.
So,
like, if you did sign him, it's not just taking on the possibility of the injuries. It's like, that's probably your cap space. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to take that chance.
Yeah. I'll be really interested. I think he's staying in Milwaukee. That's my opinion.
I do too.
I'll be really interested to see what he signs for. The idea, obviously, when you opt out of a $40 million contract for a single season is, in most cases, you know, and some players, the highest, the Steph Currys, the LeBron James, you can opt out of a contract like that and make more per year. I don't think Chris Middleton is making more per year. I think he's making more in total. And I think that's the idea. And the first thing that popped into my head, and maybe it's just my favorite number to throw around, is the 390.
Yeah. No, and that's a good guess. It's a good guess. Maybe he gets up to 100.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe they tack on a little bit more to that. Maybe with an option on that third year, though. But I do think, like, we would look in the Klay Thompson stuff is fresh in my head because of your hypothetical earlier. Klay came back and then played all of last season, you know, played the entire season. And we looked at it like, oh, you know, Klay's not what he used to be. Well, I think Chris Middleton needs this season to get his legs under him. I think Klay moving forward, what his career looks like moving forward, I think that story is going to be told this season. Chris Middleton might be a year. We might be a year away from knowing what Chris Middleton will look like for the next 4 years.
And you know, the killer about it is that other procedure.
Yeah,
like, that's the one where I was like, oh.
Yeah, the other procedure scares me too.
I feel like it comes down to, like, would you rather have Like if it came down to like him and the Kings or whatever, like would you rather have 82 games of HB or 50 games of Chris Middleton
I'd have
Well,
82 games.
or
of
however
HB.
many games?
Yeah, so like these numbers, these are Harrison Barnes numbers for 33 games. But again, that's not fair. That's fresh off the injury.
And really,
is he somewhere between 15 and 20 this year?
I could see that. I could see him being 17, but in how many games?
I don't
in
know.
how many games?
For Clay, it was 69 this year. That's what Clay played. They're not the same. Not the same injuries.
Yeah, and Clay was on a low management situation as well. I think he didn't play back to backs.
You don't think he's?
Yeah, he is. I'm just saying, like, he might even be worse. But Clay, this year, maybe like you mentioned, maybe he plays closer to 75 games or something like that. Yeah, I wouldn't. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it with Chris Middleton. And I like him. I think if healthy, he's huge for this team. But I can't trust it.